to another episode of Live Lessons in Bon Jovi songs. And today we're doing another outtake. So outtakes are songs that were recorded around an album, around recording an album, but that were never included on the album. So this is one that was prepared or created for Slippery When Wet, which was their their biggest album. Um, but it never made it on the album, and it's of course this is an album that is there were only 10 spots to give, and it had to be their really big break. So obviously, those songs were culled heavily. The competition was fierce to get on Slippery When Wet, and this is one of the many songs that didn't make it, and didn't and was kind of like released um, unofficially, and well, not unofficially, but it was collected at a later date. More about that later. But so yeah, there's like a bunch of these types of songs, but with Slippery When Wet, it's really kind of like we're starting with the ones who were recorded in the studio, and they're pretty up to par. They're actually, they're sometimes so good that you're like, oh, why is that not on the album? And but with Super Over, there's like different tiers. Is that the word? Different tiers? And we're getting closer and closer to like the bottom of the barrel where I think those are called the basement tapes, and they're just recorded in the basement, and uh um yeah, they're just really in various shapes of rough and definitely not ready. So I think next week we're getting at the bottom of the barrel. So like the most obscure of the most obscure, and so we're not even there yet. This was actually a decent song which was finished from beginning to end, and it is completely coherent, and yeah, so so we're not there yet. We're not like at the most at the most rough songs and the most rough rare outtakes. This is actually still pretty good, and one of the ways you can detect that it's still pretty good is that it is on the third option a song had to come on an album. So the first the first 10 spots of that you could have as a song, like the 10 winners, of course, are the songs that came on the album Slippery When Wet. I mean, obviously, if you're a song, like your end game is to be here. And if you were not on there, then you had another chance in 2004, where they basically just collected all the rare songs that they had put out on B-sides and on special editions and on international editions that had like one or two extra songs. So this is really in 2004, this collector's box. You should just refer to it as the box set, but the official title is 100 Million Bon Jovi Fans Can't Be Wrong. So this was like your second option as a song to be released in 2004 instead of in 1985, but to be released in 2004 on this box. But I recently discovered that there's like a third option for songs. Not quote quote songs for songs. There's a third option for songs, and that was an album that was from, or it was a bootleg album, so it's not an official album. And it was released, I think, about 1995. I haven't really looked it up, but it was a bootleg and it was called We Are Not Unused. And meaning the song saying we are not unused. Like, we're on this album, we're on this third option album. And this is one of the songs that is on that album. So the name of the song is either Too Much Too Soon, which is the title that I found it under. Is that English? Anyway, the song I found was labeled as Too Much Too Soon, and but it also has another title. So and that is Never Enough. So sometimes on YouTube it's labeled or named Never Enough. So obviously, because the song was not finished by Bon Jovi themselves, even though it was released on the demo album, they had not decided what the official title was going to be. So if you're going to dig for it, you can either find it under Too Much Too Soon or under Never Enough. So this song actually was pretty good. It was solid. It was finished from, beginning to end, and it ended up on this bootleg album, like, mid-90s bootleg album, We Are Not Unused. So yeah, so that's all, pretty good, pretty good. And it's a rock and roll song, so you can really hear it has a totally different vibe than the normal songs from Bon Jovi, which are rock. Like, there's really very little rock and roll in Bon Jovi. Maybe that's also why they didn't explore this direction of this song further. But it's very pure in its rock and roll expression, and so that is, one of the things that you can say about this song. It's a rock and roll song, and it's about someone who got famous and rich too soon, and they start behaving very badly, and that's what the song is. And it's never enough. That's the second title of this song is Never Enough. So they get success too soon and can't handle that. So this series is called Life Lessons in Bon Jovi Songs. So then I have to come up with a life lesson, and usually I have no idea what the life lesson is, just some kind of remotely relevant story that that I share, which is the case now. So the remotely relevant story is I actually heard Madonna say this about the way she started. She really literally said, and this was when she was about 30 or something, she literally said that she was able to handle fame because she first had a quarter of a century. I still remember how she phrased it. She had a quarter of a century living in the shadows, living as someone who was not famous. And because she was 25 in 1983 when her first record came out. So 1983, she is from 1958. So she was turning 25 that year. She really had 25 years of not being famous. And I think what is also, it's not just that she had 25 years before she had to deal with that kind of responsibility, really, but also that she had worked for it on her own. So her path to fame, to her career in music, was entirely different from Jon Bon Jovi's fame path to fame. So, well, first of all, Jon Bon Jovi was younger, so he was when his first album came out, that was in '84, and but they actually played a really big show already late '83. So let's just say that that was their big break. He was 21, so that is, you know, a big difference. Um, but also that John Bon Jovi had a whole band, so he was there with his peers right from, you know, high school and up. He had friends. He was in a community, so he went from high school to playing bars in the same community. He had supportive parents who supported him during his teenage years, and then from that area in New Jersey, they conquered the world. So they went on tour, and then after every tour, they came back to New Jersey, and then went back on tour. So it was very much, yeah, very supported, a very grounded way of starting. With Madonna, it was completely different because she left home. I think she was about 17, 18 to become a dancer in New York, or actually without really knowing what she wanted to do. And she phrases it as, I wanted to dance, I wanted to sing, I wanted to make people happy. I worked very hard and my dream came true. That was her phrase to like her elevator pitch. And uh, so when we're talking about when she was 25, and you know, from the moment she set foot on in New York to the moment of her big break with her first album, that was over 5 years. That was, you know, more like 7 years, where she needed to survive on her own. I mean, she was in bands and she was in a dance academy at some point, but it was it was far less safe and it was far less supported. She didn't have any support in New York, and so I think that also made why, when she was 25, not only had she lived a quarter of a century, but from those 25 years, she had to survive by herself and really living on her dream of making it. And yeah, she really had to back herself. And I think that is what really gave her the grit to deal with fame, and why she is. I don't know who the who inspired this song, but I do know that it's not Madonna. That, you know, Bon Jovi was not like, ooh, let's write a song about Madonna and how she had too much too soon, and it was never enough, because there was something so deeply rooted in her, like a belief in herself, that you just respect that. You know, it's just, you know, or like in the '80s, you just felt like there's something uh, um, really deeply grounded here. She's really grounded in her success. She built her own success, and she was the least likely to blow it up by behaving in an impossible way, and yeah, behaving in a star, but you know, in the sense that you wreck your hotel room or whatever. Like, I mean, not that Bon Jovi ever did that, obviously, but I think that that yeah, you can really see that the too much too soon, that it's really not just about age, because John Bon Jovi was even younger, and like they didn't wreck hotel rooms and and stuff either. There were never any complaints about, you know, that they um, didn't give good shows or showed up late or in any way behaved in a bad way. Um, so you can see that they had that, Bon Jovi had that when John Bon Jovi was only 21 years old. Um, and Madonna had it in, when she was 25 years old. That it's really about that, not about the timing, like it's too soon as in the timing, but it's is it timely because you have like put in the work yourself. So I think it's like it's not just a time like, oh, it's too soon. No, it is someone else has done that work for you. And you haven't really made this choice. It's not really your success that you're um, enjoying now. It's something that someone else created for you. And maybe even in a negative way, like they didn't create the success for you, but they used you for their own version of success, and now suddenly you're in the spotlight, but you don't really uh, um, yeah. So it's not just like, oh, someone else made you a star. It can also be you know to a degree very involuntarily experience where someone in power, or like your parents or whatever, they push you into that limelight. So it's not just that you got a really big break, and it's your own success. It can also be that someone else used you for their own reason, and that's why you don't feel any ownership. And maybe that's why you start behaving so badly that songs like Too Much Too Soon and Never Enough are written about you. So I think the life lesson of Too Much Too Soon and Never Enough, the song has two names, really is, um, yeah, to, that if you work if you work for your success, then you're a better professional because you're really putting in that work and you're really making it your own, and it really changes who you are as a professional. But also that it's, I mean, I don't like, yeah, it's in a way it is privilege in order to be allowed to work for it, in order to have that. And that's also how Madonna pronounced it, what she meant when she said it. I had the privilege of having to work for it myself and having those first 25 years um, shielded from fame, not in the limelight. I had the first 25 years to develop myself. So she really understood the privilege of having that time to build something for yourself. She understood that, that if we are used by other people to embody their success, or if we get big breaks very unexpectedly, um, then there's a really big risk that we start blowing it up and we start sabotaging it, and people start writing songs about how bad we behave. So that is the life lesson from this song, from this very rare Bon Jovi song. And we're going to the next tier. It's such a strange word for me to use, but we're going to the next tier. We're like going a little bit lower again to songs that are even in a rougher shape and that do not even end up on the album We Are Not Unused. And but the song has a beautiful name. It's called The Promise. So next time we're going to do The Promise, and I think that is like an even rougher demo. But I'm not sure. We'll see it next time. So I'll see you there. Okay, bye.